Accurate, dependable, and late-breaking. This is local and state news on WLEN, Lenawee's local news station.
Hello, Lenawee County. My name is Brian Vish, and this is the WLEN Evening News. Let's get into it. Lenawee County Commissioners are considering a new policy that would add a waiting period for approving non-budgeted spending. During the July 7th meeting of the Policy and Procedures Committee, Commissioner Van Doren proposed creating a two-meeting rule for any county expenditures not included in the current budget. The proposed policy would prevent immediate approval of unbudgeted spending at the meeting where the request is first introduced. The intent is to ensure commissioners have adequate time to review spending proposals, supporting documents, and potential impacts before a final vote is taken. Van Doren used the recent flock safety camera system approval as an example, noting that the Sheriff's Department requested the purchase from a separate fund without advance notice in the budget. Under the proposed rule, the initial presentation of a spending request would take place at one meeting, and commissioners would be required to wait until the next meeting to vote. The committee discussed adding an emergency override to allow immediate approval in urgent situations, such as public safety issues or time-sensitive needs. They also considered including a minimum dollar threshold to ensure minor expenses are not unnecessarily delayed. Commissioners voiced support for the concept, emphasizing the importance of transparency and giving elected officials time to digest financial proposals. Several noted that although current rules allow the board to table or delay a vote, a formal policy would set a clear standard and prevent rushed decisions. The idea has been discussed informally for years, but Van Doren expressed interest in formalizing it now. The committee agreed to continue exploring the proposal and will likely seek input from the county administrator's office on policy language and implementation. The potential policy would be reviewed by the Ways and Means Committee if advanced. No formal action was taken at this meeting. Lenawee County is moving forward with a new social media policy that applies specifically to county employees when posting on behalf of the county. The Policy and Procedures Committee approved and recommended the standalone social media policy to the full Board of Commissioners during the July 7th meeting. The policy outlines clear expectations for county employees using social media for official county business. Employees must first obtain approval from their department head before posting on any county-managed social media account. All accounts must also be coordinated through the county's marketing and communications coordinator and managed using the county's designated social media management software. The policy does not apply to the general public or employees' personal social media accounts as long as those accounts do not claim to speak on behalf of the county. Employees are allowed to list their county position on personal profiles, but they may not make official comments or represent the county in any way through individual social media use. The policy emphasizes strict compliance with county branding standards, factual accuracy, and appropriate use of county resources. It also outlines prohibited content, including discriminatory political or illegal posts. It specifies that all social media activity conducted on behalf of the county is subject to the Freedom of Information Act and Michigan's public record retention laws. The county uses archival software to retain posts, comments, and messages for compliance purposes. The county's marketing and communications coordinator only permits comment removal from official accounts to ensure proper documentation is maintained. Additionally, the policy requires that all employees use the correct county logos and follow federal copyright laws when sharing third-party content. Violations of the social media policy may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination and potential legal consequences. The policy is part of the county's broader effort to modernize communication practices while maintaining accountability and professionalism across all public platforms. The Board of Commissioners will consider final policy approval at an upcoming meeting. The Adrian City Commission entered a closed session Monday night to discuss contract negotiations with the city's firefighter union, the International Association of Firefighters. The talks signal an important step in ongoing labor discussions related to emergency services. While the meeting agenda listed the closed session, city officials offered no public details about the status of negotiations or the terms under review. Mayor Angie Sword-Heath briefly clarified the union's name for the public before commissioners voted to move into a private discussion. The session was approved by unanimous vote, with all commissioners present. After returning briefly to open session, the commission entered a second closed session before adjourning for the night. No timeline has been given for when the results of the firefighter contract talks will be brought forward publicly. Labor agreements involving public safety often carry significant implications for staffing levels, response times, and city budgets. Any finalized contract will require commission approval in a future public session. Lenawee County Commissioners have approved a 2-year contract with Flock Safety to install automated license plate reader cameras, despite concerns about surveillance and privacy. The $55,050 agreement will be funded through the county's Public Safety and Justice allocation. The decision was made Tuesday by roll call vote during the county's Personnel, Ways and Means Committee meeting. The contract had been delayed in previous sessions, but was brought forward after revisions. Board Chair Jim Van Doren said the revised agreement now explicitly prohibits the activation of certain surveillance features, a key point raised by commissioners and the Sheriff's Department in previous discussions. The Flock system captures vehicle license plate data and can be used for law enforcement investigations. Critics have raised concerns about the technology's potential to disproportionately impact certain communities and increase unwarranted surveillance. The vote passed with dissent. The final approval will proceed to the full Board of Commissioners. Lenawee County's general fund is projected to have a budget shortfall of nearly $20 million, with mid-year numbers showing $38.9 million in revenue against $58.2 million in expenditures. The report was presented during Tuesday's Personnel, Ways and Means Committee meeting as part of the county's ongoing financial monitoring process. County Administrator Kim Murphy said the gap is typical for mid-year, as property tax collections are weighted toward the second half of the fiscal year. Murphy added that the revenue from summer taxes is expected to close the deficit by September. While no immediate action was proposed to address the gap, commissioners acknowledged the importance of tracking departmental spending and preparing for potential adjustments during fall budget hearings. Murphy emphasized that other funds, such as special revenue accounts and restricted grant programs, remain on track. In state news, the Michigan Department of Transportation has started bridge maintenance on M106 over the Portage River in Jackson County. The work began Monday, July 7th and is expected to continue through Friday, October 31st. The $714,000 project is part of the Michigan's ongoing investment in road and bridge repairs across the state. Based on economic modeling, the project is expected to directly and indirectly support 7 jobs. The bridge work will require closing a single lane in one direction of M106. Traffic will be shifted over to accommodate construction, and a temporary signal will manage traffic flow. Motorists should expect delays throughout the project's duration. According to MDOT, regular bridge maintenance is critical for extending the service life of these structures and ensuring long-term safety for motorists. The lane closure is necessary to provide a safe work environment for both crews and drivers. Governor Gretchen Whitmer emphasized the importance of bridge and road repairs as a cornerstone of the state's efforts to support the economy and improve safety. Across Michigan, we are moving dirt and fixing the damn roads to grow our economy, helping Michiganders to work, drop off their kids at school, and run errands safely, Whitmer said. By the end of this construction season, we will have fixed, repaired, or replaced nearly 24,500 lane miles of roads and 1,900 bridges, supporting thousands of good-paying jobs, local jobs without raising taxes by a dime. This year, let's build on our momentum to pass a bipartisan local road funding plan so we can keep fixing our damn roads and creating good paying local jobs. Drivers are encouraged to plan for delays and stay alert when traveling through the work zone. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office is investigating a breaking and entering incident that occurred just before midnight on Sunday, July 6th, at an outlet mall in the 14500 block of LaPlace Road. The complex houses multiple recreation marijuana dispensaries. Deputies responded immediately after an alarm was triggered and discovered a fresh break-in. A follow-up investigation led to the identification of two suspects, a 16-year-old male and a 17-year-old male, both residents of Monroe County. The juveniles were reportedly staying with an adult family member at a nearby hotel at the time of the incident. The 17-year-old suspect was lodged at the Monroe County Youth Center, while the 16-year-old was released to his mother as he did not qualify for arrest under current state guidelines. Charges have been forwarded to the Monroe County Prosecutor's Office. The case remains under investigation by Deputy Austin Graham. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Sheriff's Office Detective Bureau at 734-240-7530. Anonymous tips can be submitted via Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK-UP or www.1800speakup.org. In national news, at least 3 people were killed and 10 others were injured in a shooting early Monday in South Philadelphia's Gray Ferry neighborhood. The Philadelphia Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel said the shooting occurred on the 1500 block of South 27th Street just before 1 a.m., adding that a group of individuals fired randomly just before 1 a.m. near the intersections of Edding and Dickinson Streets in South Philadelphia. According to officials, 9 victims were taken to Penn Presbyterian Medical Center and 3 others were taken to Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. One additional victim walked into the hospital of the University of Pennsylvania's Pavilion campus. Bethel said at least 8 of the victims were taken by police and added that among the injured shooting victims, 2 of them were juveniles and both are expected to survive. Bethel said he had heard about 40 people may have been in the area when the shooting started, and said during a press conference, this is coward stuff. This is, you see the size of this block. I mean, just individuals shooting randomly into houses, into cars, children out here. I mean, this is coward wannabe thug stuff. There was a large crowd out here. Clearly there was something going on the block. You could see that. We believe there was probably an exchange of gunfire, but who was exchanging? We will be going through that process now. Police believe there may have been a switch, which makes a gun automatic, was involved in the shooting. Nearly 140 pieces of ballistic evidence were found at the scene, according to Commissioner Bethel. One person with a weapon was taken into custody. Their exact involvement is unknown at this time. Police are working to apprehend others that may have been involved in the incident. President Donald Trump announced on Monday that at least 7 countries are set to face steep tariffs on their imports to begin on August 1st. In a series of posts on his Truth Social platform, Trump shared screenshots of form letters dictating new tariff rates to the leaders of Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, Kazakhstan, South Africa, Laos, and Myanmar. Goods imported to the U.S. from Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, and Kazakhstan are now set to face 25% tariffs, while South African goods will be subject to a 30% U.S. tariff, and imports from Laos and Myanmar will face 40% duties. Trump had imposed a Wednesday deadline for nations to negotiate better trade deals on April 2nd. He announced 10% across-the-board baseline tariffs on 90 trading partners and harsher ones for the worst offenders. However, just 1 week later, he pushed the deadline back until July 9th for the reciprocal duties. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt suggested that 14 letters will be sent out Monday and confirmed that Trump would sign an executive order to delay the Wednesday deadline until August 1st. USA Today reported that in addition to Japan and South Korea, other nations are bracing for higher tariffs, including 27 countries in European Union. with as many as 100 letters potentially being sent out to those nations. Let's take a look at the weather here in Lenawee County. It's a warm and partly cloudy afternoon with a high of 83 degrees, light winds from the west-northwest at 4 miles per hour, and just a 2% chance of rain. Humidity is holding at 50% and it feels closer to 85. Expect skies to remain partly cloudy into the evening, with temperatures gradually falling to the mid-70s by 10 p.m. and 74 by 11. Tomorrow, another mild summer day ahead. Highs will stay in the low 80s with a mix of sun and clouds. Winds shift slightly west at 4 miles per hour, and rain chances remain low throughout the day, holding at or below 6%. Evening temperatures dip into the 70s under mostly cloudy skies. Looking ahead, Thursday, we have a high of 84 and a low of 63, partly cloudy with a light breeze from the north-northwest. Rain chances remain low at 9%. Friday, a high of 87 and a low of 69, warm and partly cloudy, slight increase in humidity, 22% chance of isolated showers. Saturday, there'll be a high of 87 and a low of 68. Thunderstorms are possible in the afternoon. Rain chances jump to 55%, and winds pick up from the south-southwest at 12 miles per hour. Sunday, there'll be a high of 85 and a low of 63, partly cloudy again with a 24% chance of rain. Winds shift west-northwest at 8 miles per hour. Defenseman Cam York has agreed to the terms of a 5-year contract worth $25.75 million with the Philadelphia Flyers, the team announced on Monday. York will count $5.15 million against the salary cap through the 2029-2030 NHL season. York, 25, initially joined the franchise as the number 14 overall pick in the 2019 NHL draft. The restricted free agent signed a 2-year, $3.2 million contract with the Flyers in 2023. York has 77 points in 235 games for the Flyers. Over 66 appearances last season, the 5-year veteran totaled 17 points from 4 goals, 13 assists, and 82 appearances in 2023-2024. He recorded a career-high 30 points from 10 goals and 20 assists. Last season, the Flyers finished 33 and 39, again failing to make the playoffs for the 5th consecutive time since 2020. And that's it for the WLEN Evening News. I'll see you tomorrow, Lenawee. Have a good night.
Count on WLEN, Lenawee's local news station, to keep you informed with accurate and dependable information 24 hours a day.